Browns have finished up another day of camp. Let's bring in, from the Orange and Brown Report, does a spectacular job, Fred Greetham, kind enough to spend a few minutes today here on the Sam Bourquin Show. Fred, happy Wednesday. How are you?
Doing great, Sam.
Thanks for coming on. I know there's so much going on. Another tough thing to deal with for the Browns. And MJ Emerson, one of the good dudes, one of the really good guys on the team, in the organization. Our worst fears confirmed with the MRI, I should say, the torn Achilles. I bet there's not a real good feeling in Berea right now all the way around, is there?
No, we interviewed him yesterday morning, and he was just talking about how he was disappointed in last year and that he was ready to have a big season. He put a lot of effort in. It wasn't a couple hours later, right in front of me in a non-contact drill, he was guarding, I think, Deontay Johnson. The Flacco threw the ball, on the other side, but I saw out of the corner of my eye him go down, and yeah, he was in a lot of pain through his helmet. He's very distraught, and it's too bad. I asked Kevin Stefanski today, before they've even started the season now, on that defense, 3 of their starters are out for the season. With JOK, obviously that was long before, but Jordan Hicks announced his retirement a week ago, and now Emerson. So for a defense trying to rebound, that makes it tough, and you got to have guys maybe that are lesser known that you weren't counting on. You always have that in the NFL, but Browns are getting a little head start on it.
Yeah, it's always something, isn't it, Fred? I mean, from non-contact injuries to there's always seems to be a cloud hanging over Lou Groza Boulevard. So I watched your video that you shot. Check that out, the Orange and Brown Report, Fred Greetham, also at Fred Greetham 9. I saw that. You were right there. You just kind of explained to us what happened. It was a non-contact, and he just went down. What did you think happened, just a little bit from the live eye that you witnessed?
Well, I thought it was Achilles or even a knee, but usually Achilles, I've seen several. I saw Jakeem Grant a couple years ago when he was here to be the returner and as a wide receiver running down the field, and he just kind of looked like he was shot. He just collapsed. Now, I didn't see Emerson go down. I just out of the corner of my eye saw him on the ground, and the way he was grimacing, he knew his season was over. I mean, he threw the helmet. I mean, he knew it, and these players know that, and it just seems like sometimes with the knee injuries, some guys get carted off. They look worse than end up, but, I think he knew it. In fact, with a knee injury, a lot of times guys help him up, and they did not. They picked him up and put him on the cart, so he didn't even stand up that I saw. So, very tough, but it's one of those things. It's like, you've seen basketball, happened in playoffs there to Halliburton, and that Achilles, when it snaps, it's bad.
That's not good. Again, I think we all know, the people that are in the know, the Browns are not going to win a whole lot of games this year regardless, but just the fact that things like this happen to good people really is a bummer, and you're just about a week into training camp and something like that happens. But I heard Kevin Stefanski, some of his comments today, and he has to say, hey, while we kind of mourn what happened with MJ and we feel bad and we're going to be there for him, but it's next guys up, next men up, next group up, whatever it is, they've got to find a way to turn the page, and they will. What was the mood at camp, maybe as recent as when they just kind of shut it down for the day? And was there any little pick-me-up at all, or still kind of feeling the effects of what happened with MJ?
Well, like to your point, the 89 other guys out of the 90, and that pretty much that whole team was around him. Everything was, you could have heard a pin drop. It was so quiet. And then it was back to the action. Ironically, Cameron Mitchell, who's one of the guys, counted on maybe to move up into one of the top 3 spots with Newsome and Ward, intercepted Dylan Gabriel near the goal line, probably within a half hour after that happened. So, yeah, it is. It's on to the next, and that's life in the NFL. Is you're always looking for the next man up and trying to find. And so they're going to have to find some depth, at corner. They have Cameron Mitchell and they have Miles Harden, guys they drafted, and they're going to have to grow up fast. Or else they're going to have to look outside.
No doubt about it. Fred Greetham is our guest. Orange and Brown Report. Check him out at Fred Greetham 9 on X. All right, give us a little quarterback room scoop today between Shedeur and Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel. What's going on there?
Well, the order was pretty much the same. Flacco was first, and Gabriel also got some first-team reps with the 11-on-11. The noteworthy part was Shedeur Sanders. He was still an offense in 11-on-11s with the 2s and 3s, but he went against the first-team defense, Myles Garrett and company. And, he completed 2 or 3 passes. They were both real short passes, but at least he got to see, the top defense. Myles Garrett was kind of running, had his way, and he would have had several sacks, I think, today. But Stefanski talked about how Garrett gets upset that he doesn't call out sack when he thinks he had one. But, I thought Gabriel might have been his best day. He threw a deep ball to Caden Davis for a touchdown. And by the way, I think Caden Davis and Gage Lavardane are making a name for themselves, and I think that might be one of the reasons they waived Michael Woods today.
Okay.
And they had they went to live tackling. To my memory, it might have happened before, but since Kevin Stefanski's been here, they've done what they call thud, where they just have the initial hit and no tackle to the ground. And they were tackling to the ground. And one of the drills, 11-on-11, Gabriel threw a sideline route to Lavardane, and 2 or 3 tacklers didn't get him down. He went for a touchdown, and the offense, cheered. They haven't had a lot to cheer about, but I think Gabriel has looked well. He had 2 or 3 long passes complete today. I think Sanders, did not get in with the first team. He ended practice, with in the 7-on-7 drills, and he had a couple of completions. He had one to the tight end, Sal Cannella, and he had another one to, I think it was Lavardane as well. So they're coming along. I mean, as far as it's easier to see a little bit more with Pickett not out there, because now the 3 quarterbacks pretty much stay on the field together instead of splitting them off 2 and 2. So if Pickett stays out much longer, I think Joe Flacco will pretty much have sewn up the starting position, especially if he doesn't return to practice with the Panthers next Wednesday. So Stefanski was asked about where he was. He just said, everything they evaluate every day. They're off tomorrow, so I assume they'll evaluate the injuries and see where Pickett is. And the question will be, will they have him come back Friday and Saturday, or will they hold him out until next week? After they're off Sunday, Monday they have a practice in Berea, and then they head to North Carolina, practice next Wednesday with the Panthers, and then play their first preseason game Friday night in Carolina. So, a lot will be, I think, settled in a little bit. I do think if Pickett isn't playing the game, you're going to see almost exclusively Gabriel and Sanders, which would be a good thing to get a good look at him.
Fred Greetham, our guest here on the Sam Bourquin Show, AM 1310, WDPN. A couple more. Freddie, we'll let you go. I know you got a lot of stuff to get to here this afternoon. As far as the defense, a little bit decimated now with some personnel losses. And I know it's still relatively early in camp. What about the interior line, offense, defense? Have guys looked sharp? Have most of the starters been in getting a lot of good reps? How have they looked, if you could ascertain anything from that?
Well, I'm one of the few maybe that think the offensive line might be one of the strengths of the offense this year. You got the 4 veterans that communicate very well. I think the big key is just health.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Conklin talked today. So far, those guys are working together. DeJuan Jones he's getting his test every day from Myles Garrett, but he looks good. He left the field today a little scared, but it turned out it was just heat related. They carted him off, but then the Browns issued a statement that it was heat related. And I think I was suffering from heat related today. But no, I think the offensive line, if they stay healthy, will be pretty good. The defensive line, I think, might be the best unit of the team overall, definitely on defense. I think Mason Graham has just been, to me, with the pads on, I think he was disruptive in there, and he was opening up holes, and Carson Schlesinger was filling those holes, and he was labeled as a tackling machine coming out of UCLA, and I think that, he's, so far it's early, but he looks really good. Garrett, Malik Collins has looked good. I saw Shelby Harris bat a pass down today. Isaiah McGuire, Alex Wright, they're showing up. So you got most of the guys up front are doing their job and putting pressure on. In fact, that's part of the reason why the offense has had some trouble, because the defense is getting a lot of pressure, up front.
Last one, we'll let you go, Fred. The practices themselves, how is the speed been, the rhythm, the time between drills? Are they still like, okay, that's coach's voice, that's his whistle, let's go, let's get moving? Are they moving around? Is there a good rhythm, a good speed to everything?
Yeah, there is, despite the heat. I mean, they've been not going that long, hour and a half maybe, but they seem to be getting a lot done in that time. Everything's intentional. And like I said, this is the first time I've seen tackling to the ground. I mean, these guys were hitting, and usually, like in Greenbrier the last couple of years, we didn't really see a whole lot of hitting going on. It was kind of like touch football, but this was the real thing. And so I think that they're trying to get a lot accomplished and see what they have with these guys.
Fred, we always appreciate it. Try to stay cool up there. I know there's some relief coming after tomorrow night. The weather should be a lot more palatable for camp. We always appreciate the visit. Thanks again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks.
You bet.
Man. Have a great day.
Thanks, Fred. Fred Greetham, Orange and Brown Report. Check him out on X at Fred Greetham9. At Fred Greetham9. Does a great job covering the Cleveland Browns, and we're lucky to have him here. Come up on our show. Fred's always there for us when we call. We certainly do appreciate that.